Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And yeah, today I'll be making a video. Oh no, today I'll be reviewing reference letter, my reference letters that I got. So, um, a whole lot of you, after I did a review on my statement of purpose, a number of you have been asking to see what my reference letter looks like. I understand that sometimes it can be really difficult. Some of your referees can just give a general, or how do I put it? Make a rec- Give you a recommendation later for you to submit that looks more, that's just there. And also too, I realized that sometimes referees will be like, okay, how do you want it to be structured and something, and stuff like that, that kind of something. And so sometimes you guys have want to tell your referee what the person should write, and sometimes you don't know how to frame it or something like that. So today I'll be giving you making a review of my own reference letters. I had to submit two reference letters for my application. So the first one, this is it. I got this from as at then he was a doctor, but now he's a professor of international relations and strategic studies. So the first reference letter I got is from one of my lecturers that I was really close to, in fact, very close to. Okay, so his the reference data I got from him was divided into four paragraphs, and each paragraph had the projection he wanted it to have. So for me, I would say the first paragraph was just general introduction of who I am and what I am to him, that kind of something. And then the second paragraph went ahead to talk about my activities, my engagement, and stuff like that, like maybe my engagement in school and maybe work experience and stuff like that. And then the third paragraph went ahead to talk about my capabilities as an individual, my abilities and stuff like that. And then the final paragraph went ahead to state his assurance. So now I'm going to be taking you through what he wrote for me. So the first paragraph which I talked about, that was just about general introduction and all that. So he started off by saying, the first sentence started off by saying that he's writing in support of my application for the Erasmus Mundus program of so and so. So you see that he clearly stated my name, and then he also mentioned that it's an Erasmus Mundus program, and the program in particular, I had to mention it: International Masters in Erasmus Mundus International Masters in Security, Intelligence, and Strategic Studies. He mentioned it, and then the next sentence following it, he talked about how long he has known me and in what position he knew me as. So of course, obviously, he was my undergrad lecturer, so he talked about that and the position he knew me as. He was my lecturer. He knew me in so and so when I came into the university in 2000 and dash. So that was it for the second sentence. And then the second sentence, he went ahead to talk about when I concluded my studies in the university and also what I graduated with. She graduated with this, maybe a first class, a second class, and blah 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 and stuff like that. So that was it for the introduction paragraph, the first paragraph. The second, which I talked about, that was all about my activities, engagements, and all that. So he started off by saying that as an undergraduate in the university, he talked about the position I served in as president of International Relations and Strategic Studies Students Association, that I served there during. He talked about the session 2016 to 2017 that I served there. And he also made mention of some notable contributions that I made as the president of the association. He mentioned it there. Then also, he talked about how the initiative was really helpful and how I was commended. That was it for the second paragraph, and it ended there. Then the third paragraph, he went ahead to talk about my capabilities. He talked about my ability to undertake the study, a master's degree, like be engaged in the rigorous activities and all that. So that was what that paragraph was just all about. And then finally, he ended it with another paragraph, which is just also a single sentence stating his belief in me as a candidate who is deserving of the scholarship, and you know just recommending me. He stated his belief there, and yeah, that ended it. And he's like, yours faithfully. You know how they end it there. So that was it for my first recommendation letter. So my next recommendation letter, the second one, also um this was also gotten from a doctor from my department, one of the people I so much love, like so much, so much, and all that. So this one too, I got it from him. This one is a two paragraph later, and so the first one, he also introduced me, and he also talked about um, when he knew me, and from when to when I was under him, when he knew me, and in the position or in capacity he knew me. So he was my lecturer, obviously, and the period he taught me, he also mentioned it. So he also went ahead to state that, talk about how I was exceptional as a student as at the time he taught me, and attesting to my abilities to pursue the program. He also talked about graduating with a good grade, and how I am committed to studies and all that. Then the second paragraph, which is just which is the last paragraph. I told you that this one is a two paragraph reference later, and he went ahead to just say that he would not hesitate, because of these things he know about me and all that. He would not hesitate to recommend me for the studies and the scholarship, and that he has no doubt I would be doing well in the program. So if you see me looking here, so I have my laptop here, so I'm just looking at it. So yeah, that is it for my recommendation later that I got. So guys, some people have come to ask me, okay, Jennifer, who should we address the letter to, the recommendation letter to, and all that? My advice is that your recommendation letter should always be addressed to the university, the leading university, the coordinating university, the consortium. So for me, my letter was addressed to the University of Glasgow admissions team, external relations, University of Glasgow, blah blah blah. So that was just it. It was addressed to the Glasgow admissions team. Yes, so sometimes you could actually personalize it by writing maybe IMSIS consortium. Okay, maybe mine is IMSIS. So depending on your program, you just write the name of your program, or the abbreviation. We have IMSIS, GLOCA, GLODEB, and all that. Depending on the program, you could just write IMSIS, for example, IMSIS at IMSIS consortium, University of Glasgow admissions team, blah blah blah, external relations, and all that and all that. So I think if you have a letter that is like this, you are good to go. So I say sometimes people write to whom it may concern. For me, I think it is lousy to just write for whom it may concern. I don't think it is. I think it's lousy for me. That's why I believe so. You should be very precise. This data for whom it may concern, you can duplicate. But if you're this specific with it, and if you are this specific with your application, the people you're writing to, the receiver, also about the program, mention the program, the person's name, and all that. So I think it would really go a long way. If you check the two recommendation letters I just reviewed, you will find out that my name was clearly stated there. My name was clearly stated. The program I was applying to was clearly stated. My abilities were clearly stated. How the people knew me, in what position they knew me, since when have they known me, can they attest to me, like my character, my ability to undertake a postgraduate studies. They had to mention these things then. Sometimes I see some recommendation later, he is God fearing, she is God. Oh, what are you God fearing? This is academics. Like, it do not concern anybody. It did not concern anybody. So you have to be really strategic in your reference letter. For me, my reference letter was, I think, 30 points. I think 30 points. Is it 30 or 15? So two of them joined together. I think 30 points. So you have to be ensure that your reference data is of a high quality. Yeah. So another thing too I noticed that some people just want to use a letter that is long overdue. So because your consortium says that get to tell you guys that you should submit a letter that is at least no more than a year old as at the start of the program. And so because of that, you just want to use a letter that has been written since this is 2021, since 2020, January 2020. See, I think you should, as much as possible, get recent letters, like reference letters from whoever that is recommending you or being your referee. You should try as much as possible to always get letters that are recent. Letters that are recent. Please try as much as possible to get letters that are recent. I consider it really useful, and it will show that even so recently you've been in touch with these people can still even most recently attest to your abilities to undertake the studies. So yes, that is it. And also sometimes people have come to ask me if they need two academic references from two, maybe from an academic setting, or one from academic setting and one from professional, like someone you've worked with before, or maybe just your undergraduate lecturers and all that. And I'm like, depends on what your program wants. For my program, I think they advise for two academic references, and I think it's important you follow that, two academic references. So but then um you can always find out from your program if they would take. Some programs will be like, okay, at least one academic reference, so you should be able to find out which one they have and try to always get it. It's really important, so that it's not when they say two academic references you can get one academic and one professional reference. So it, it does not match, it does not work that way. Always try as much as possible to ensure that you get the reference as they want it, as they say they want it. Always get it that way. And I think this should help you, for those people get looking to get their reference letters and all that. All right guys, thank you for joining me today. I would keep responding to your questions on my YouTube channel. Thank you, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.